Good day, everyone, and welcome on Just Even the Light. Again, Abdulqadir is here once again a program, issues, and realities. Today, we shall be talking about the Nigerian democratic journey. Uh, what we say? Should we say since 1960, or the break we had in 1976, or the one that we still maintain till date, which is the one we can call it still birth and democracy of 1992, and the one we're currently enjoying since 1999. But democracy is a democracy, and Nigeria is still one country since 1960. So we're talking about the democratic journey of our dear country, Nigeria, what we can do better, and people really enjoy the dividends of democracy, the true sense of the democracy. So today I have with me a public affairs analyst, uh, Madam Abdulqadir Ghali, will be taking us through his journey and giving us his own opinion on whether our democracy has matured, is maturing, or has been stagnated, or as some people have opined that it has even taken a reverse gear at some point. You're welcome on the show, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me once again.
So, looking at democracy, like the popular definition everybody is used to, the government of the people, for the people, and by the people. But as a social teacher, as a social study, let me say, social study teacher like you are, you believe that uh, governance is not an end; it's a means to an end. And but in the Western world, or should I say in the modern world, a lot of people tend to believe that democracy is the best form of government that can give dividends and deliver dividends of democracy to each and everybody. But I don't think the case is the same with that ideology in our own environment here. But in your own opinion, do you believe Nigerians have seen dividends of democracy in the true sense of the democracy, or reverse is the case?
If we want to really emphasize that statement in the true sense of democracy, I will say that Nigerians have not actually uh, enjoyed the dividend of democracy in the true sense of it, because the biggest dividend of democracy is when the power returns to the people. In fact, when the people dictate their fear is actually the true dividend of democracy. In fact, provision of social amenities, economic infrastructures doesn't really mean a government is democratic or not. Even the most autocratic government in the world provides social amenities and economic infrastructure. In fact, far better than most democracies in the world. So when we talk about dividend of democracy, the real dividend of democracy is when power actually belongs to the people. And in our case, Nigerians have not actually tasted that dividend. Nigerian people have not actually decided their affairs as far as democracy is concerned in Nigeria.
Okay, now, I think about 2, 3, or 4 days ago, we celebrated the June 12th, the 1992 Abiola Kingibe and then Abacha Rancor that gave birth to a political movement which was known as Nadeko. But that was the 30th anniversary of the incident. No, sorry, the 33rd anniversary of the incident. But what a lot of people will say is that coincidentally, we have a government that ran on the hope agenda of Abiola.
Of course.
Call themselves soldiers of democracy. But today it seems that some people will say that they're even almost worse than the dictator they used to fight. Like, what would you say is a problem? Does power change the thinking of the people the moment they get to power? They forget what they used to be. You talk about people that are that talk about restructuring, talk about democracy, kicking out the dictator. Now we have a presidency or a president that is touchy towards opposition and even critics. How did we get here, sir?
You see, I think I forgot the name of that popular, one of the leading political theorists. He says, and I quote, he said, no particular system of government is bad. It depends on operators of the system. So, in my opinion, I want to say that the current president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria actually was instrumental to return of democracy. I think we could say that he sacrificed his resources, both human and material resources, in defending democracy or democratic rule from the military juntas. But just like you have said, this is an acid test for the president to demonstrate to Nigerians how democratic he is himself. But if you look at the last 3 years of this administration, you discover that the government actually is more autocratic than being democratic. And without fear of fear of contradiction, I want to say that if you look at the three indicators, there are three indicators, or there are three indices that you can actually use to monitor whether a government is democratic or not. And that actually sits on three pillars. One, we have the parliament. Look at Nigerian parliament. Is Nigerian parliament independent? Who controls the parliament? In fact, the leadership of the parliament, how did they emerge? You know, if you are privy to the schemes and the way the leadership of the Nigerian parliament emerged, it's a good indicator to show whether the government in power is democratic or not. Because if a government is democratic, that government must respect and do everything possible to ensure independence of the parliament, because it is the parliament that serves as the bloodline of every democratic governance. So if you look at the relationship between the leadership of Nigerian parliament, current Nigerian parliament, and the executive arm of government, you can easily say whether the president is democratic or not. So that's number one. Then number two, we talk about the judiciary. That's the second index, sorry. So if you look at the Nigerian judiciary, are they independent? Is the executive not interfering? Not only interfering, is the executive not gaslighting and even threatening senior judicial officers to make sure that they deliver judgment, whether right or wrong, in favor of the incumbent government? That's number two. Then number three, the people. So we have the parliament, the judiciary, and the people. If you look at Nigerian people, are they satisfied with this government? Is the government carrying people along? Was it our wish that the government would get there and announce the subsidy removal? Did he consult people? Are Nigerians really support the removal of subsidy at that point? Did Nigeria understand the way the subsidy removal is being managed and the revenue that is coming to Nigeria's government's purse? So now number two, are people really free to speak? Go check it out. Are people really free to speak their mind? Are people not afraid of the DSS, the police, and other government machineries? We have people who have been jailed. We have people who have been tortured. We have people who have actually run out of the country in fear of arrest, intimidation, and some others, because they speak out what they believe is the truth against the government. So if you look at these 3 points, if you look at the parliament, look at the judiciary, and look at the people, if they are free as far as democratic principles are concerned, we can now say that this government is democratic. In fact, I want to say without fear of contradiction that except that the fact that the military will immediately come to power and suspend the parliament. The only thing is that the government did not suspend the parliament, but this government did not even allow the parliament to work. A very good example is the internal rift in the parliament itself, when some of the senators would actually talk, maybe out of their conscience or out of the fact that they were, they didn't want the leadership to to sideline them, so that they want to make noise, so that the management of the we call them of course and settle up. So, but what we are saying is that there is internal rift in the parliament, and in fact those who are aggrieved in parliament are not only talking against the leadership of the National Assembly, they are not even happy with the government, the executive, because they believe that the leadership of the National Assembly is actually in the pocket, so to say, of the executive arm of government. So it's only a government, it's only a democratic government that gives the parliament total freedom, that gives the judiciary total freedom, that gives the people total freedom, that is democratic.
Sir, I want to go back to the words of a former Speaker of House of Representatives in Nigeria, Right Honorable Abdulqadir. He said in his validatory speech, and I quote, he said, "There is no democracy that is not productively noisy." Like, democracies are supposed to be noisy. That is, there should be disagreement between the executive and the legislature. But I think the last time we experienced something like that in Nigeria was between 2015 to 2019, and we know the politics that played out. And then since then, the House have been docile to whatever the executive wants. That has not really played out well for Nigerians. But what I want to say is that Nigeria has 109 senators, 305 House of Rep members. They are all, I mean, elected from different places. Why is it that when every one of them gets to the house, they play the same ball? Why don't you have people to really disagree? Like you said, now what we have now is a kind of thing that where somebody is shouting, mainly because allegedly because they are kept out of the loop. They don't have the right. They don't have the same opportunity to the cake like the others. But it seems that the senator from Ogun and the senator from Akwa Ibom and the senator from Nasarawa and the senator from Kano, they seem to align when they meet themselves there. What has happened to the psyche of Nigerians that make them agree, and we the people disagree with them almost every time?
No, I think it's the system. It is the system, because some of them have seen precedents. They have seen precedents where a member, whether in the upper or the lower chamber, speaks or spoke against the authority and was punished unjustly and without any consequence. So, and if you are a wise man, quote and unquote, if you see that a colleague was dealt with unjustly and nothing happened, no compensation, no redress, we want to think twice. That let me just face my constituents. Let me just leave a political issue alone and face if I can be able to take good care of my people in my constituency. And that has been the norm in the National Assembly in Nigeria from the onset, from the start of the Fourth Republic. If you think you want to speak the truth on the floor of the National Assembly, you will be charged with unimaginable crimes, quote and unquote, and you'll be suspended. And when you are suspended, you will be blacklisted, especially if you are not from the ruling political party. You are not from the majority political party. In fact, that is even easier for them to deal seriously with you. And some of our politicians are not actually principled politicians. These are people who believe that I spent a lot to get here, so I cannot lose this investment. It's a kind of transactional arrangement that the money, if you look back and say, I spent a lot, I still want to go ahead, because some of them still want to go ahead. So some of them didn't want to create quote and unquote bad image for themselves in the eyes of the power that be, so that they will be able to return. In fact, look at the last primary. Some of us believe that some senators, some House of Rep members that did not return, maybe are not in the good books of the power that be. In fact, even we saw things like that even in the state houses of assembly. So what I'm trying to say is that we have and that started actually during the Fourth Republic in 1999, when General Olusegun Obasanjo, when he's no more general, when Olusegun Obasanjo was the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In fact, he was the one that laid that terrible precedence for this country. In fact, it's not a secret that he was all over the National Assembly. He spent money where the money is required. He used force where force is required. And as a Nigerian, when you come and see, okay, this is how Obasanjo did it, let me also do it so that I'll be able to spend my 8 years in peace. Because each and every of these presidents see the National Assembly as a problem. They do not see them as a partner in progress, in the development of Nigerian democracy and governance. They see that, okay, we cannot get hold of the National Assembly, you will enjoy your tenure as a president. So do whatever you want to do to make sure that you control totally now. You control the National Assembly. The 2015-2019 scenario was actually an exceptional case, because the president could not actually impose his choice of Senate president, number one. Then number two, the Senate president that time was able, I don't know how he did it, was able to carry along all members of the Senate. They were actually with him. So they tried almost everything. They could not actually break him. As a Senate president. That was why people who believe that, okay, Buhari just left the National Assembly. No, Buhari did not leave the National Assembly alone. Buhari could not actually match the strategy and acceptance of the Senate president during that time. That was why, let us just let him finish his his tenure and go, so that, and we make sure that he did not come back. Because I read a senator from Katsina at that time. He said, when the Senate president lost the election, that we prayed and we fasted, we did everything possible that he must not come back to the National Assembly. So that is the kind of relationship between the executive and the judiciary and the legislation. And the same thing the executive extended the same to the judiciary. Make sure that the chief justice is your man or your woman, so that whatever case somebody brought against the executive, it will be crushed. So that is not democracy, and if whoever does that is not democratic.
You talked about the primary election. I think that's the hottest topic in the Nigerian politics today. But it seems like I said before, you look at APC, there is rancor. Look at PDP, there is rancor. Look at NDC, even the new parties, the ADC. You see people saying we have been told to pay, we have been told to do this, we have been told to do that. But is that a democracy? We have seen a lot of them all these major parties have had their primaries for close to a month or over a month now. But nobody has really defined who has won the primary elections. People are still hanging, waiting like me, little children waiting for admissions to secondary schools.
Of course.
What does that say to our democracy? If we say we had the primary election and the winner even cannot beat his chest to say I'm the winner, and then my name will be forwarded to INEC.
Actually, it's not funny. It's not funny. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that just like you said in your opening remark, the more we go, I think the more things got bad for our democracy. In fact, in 1999, I remembered, in 1999 to 2003, whenever there was a challenge in democracy, the excuse then was that, let us just take, let us be patient. It's nascent. In fact, that was the first time I heard that word, nascent. So it was a nascent democracy. Nascent means just like a new baby that's just been, that is yet to, and you can say that between 1999 and 2003 it's nascent really. But this is 2026. We have, how many regimes? How many, what? We've had
Jonathan, we had Buhari and
so it's no more a baby. Yes, no more a baby. But in fact, the situation now is even worse. That the worst thing is what you have just mentioned. Let's assume I am a candidate. I worked very hard. I paid the normal fee to my party. I participated, I campaigned, I worked, and I've not seen my results. I don't know whether I'm the one choosing by. No, so it's a very terrible situation, though. In fact, I was telling somebody sometimes ago that I don't know, maybe the electoral law did not say anything about this. I don't know what happened. Maybe the electoral law is silent about it. I don't know
what is said. What I mean, the section of the law that the party supremacy are relying on is that nobody can be announced at the state level. Nobody can be announced at the federal government level. The only thing INEC will go by is the name that is submitted by the national headquarters of the parties. And that is the issue. Somebody that contests election to represent the people of Asa local government, just the people of Asa local government in Kwara State, his name or her name have to be taken to Abuja. Then it's the people of Abuja. If there is Magomago there and the name is changed, the person would have to resort to court. It's not that the INEC is not relating with the state parties anymore. They now relate with the federal, the national party, only the national party. So, and the INEC offices in the state are now reduced to election conducting offices alone, nothing else.
Well, I don't know whether is that what you just narrated. Is it the electoral law?
That is the electoral law. That is the section that the national APC and national PDP, everybody, that's what they are relying on.
Okay.
It is the name forward. It's not about the result.
It's not about who even won at the level.
It's about the name. It is about the name that the party says, okay, this is our name. The current electoral law gives room for just two forms of primary. It's either consensus or direct.
Okay.
So if they bring a name, if a name has been announced at the state level, they can say that, okay, we have done consensus.
Okay.
And so this is the consensus name. Forget about the primary that happened.
Okay.
So that is the problem. That's the problem every aspirant is facing now. If you say, okay, we have the primary,
okay,
they can submit another person's name on the premise of consensus.
Okay, that is why it's very okay. I understand now, because that is why it's easy for some supporters, because I've seen some supporters of a particular party's some party candidates, governorship candidates, all of them claiming victory for their principles.
The national has the power to forward any name they feel that. And
despite that, the primary election has been conducted and a winner has been announced, but supporters are still hopeful that my candidate, my principal. I don't understand. It's confusing.
Even the national party is still silent on this thing. They are just saying, wait till we agree. That tells you the kind of democracy we are practicing. If somebody is claiming that I'm the only one that has the power to know in a democracy, something that is supposed to be open to everybody.
Of course.
So that is what does that do to our democracy?
In fact, that comes back to my earlier statement about the three indices that I mentioned, the people. So it means that even right from the political party stage, at the grassroots, people's opinion does not matter. So okay, if in my constituency now we have voted wholeheartedly for a particular candidate to represent us, and that person is now rejected at the headquarters, and that person is now given to us, what is our fate as a people who supported that candidate, who believe that that's the candidate that could deliver the democracy, the dividend to us?
The Senate President at some point openly made a statement at the seat that they are still fighting for some of their members that have allegedly not returned.
I read it.
At some point, he changed his say. He said he himself complained that this thing is taking too long. Let us know our fate. The Senate President is never citizens of the country. He's even afraid of the party supremacy.
And the implication? The implication is that if things continues like this, political apathy will increase. More and more people will lose interest in political participation, not in politics now, but in the process. Because if I believe that if I campaign for a candidate, I followed him everywhere, and at the end of the day he won the election and somebody else was announced, so next time I'll just decide to just sit at home and forget about everything. And I think these people have that I think that is actually their goal, to make Nigerians tired of participating, so that they continue to manipulate and they continue to do whatever they like, because they should know even better than us, because they are directly involved, that this system is not good for democracy, and they keep on doing it. It means it's deliberate to keep some of us away from the political process. That's the fact.
Okay, sir, what do you think we can do to make things better? I mean, to the people, like you've said, opine, and I agree that this looks like a strategy to make sure the people are tired and they stop participating, and these people can go on, whichever way they like. But what do you think the people should do to strengthen the democracy? Like you said, you have three indices: the people, the judiciary, and the legislation. What do you think we can do better?
Now, what we can do is the solution from our side. I mean, from the people's side, is getting thinner and thinner, slimmer and slimmer every day. Because whenever people are all out to make a change, these people come out another strategy that keep people away. Just like, because I don't think things like this have happened before.
It has never
in our primaries.
This is the first time.
This is the first time.
We have been limited to just
to that is the problem.
And that's three.
Even that one also did not judiciously implemented, because we have seen primary elections. We've seen people that were announced as winners, and they are just afraid whether they are going to be the flag bearer or not. That is insane. That is not acceptable at all. And like I said, I think it is deliberate. So they keep on keeping people away from participating in the decision process making, so that they will become, just like they want to become, overlord over everything. In fact, the little people still have ability to contribute. It's been taken away from them. In fact, people believe that we do not have people believe that our votes do not count in the general election, but maybe they can still make something happen during the primary election. You are not denying them again their voice in the primary election. At least in my constituency, if somebody is going for an House of Assembly seat, I can say, okay, in fact, I voted for him in the primary for him to represent me in the National Assembly. That also has been denied now. So it means we have no input at all, except what you people want, and you have some people you want to continue to circulate. So that is frustrating, and it's totally undemocratic.
I think that's a very good place to leave it. I think, like I said at the beginning of program, governance every system is a means, not an end in itself. I think, thank you very much, our viewers. Remember myself, Abdulqadir, once again. That was Malam Abdulqadir, who was speaking to us about the democratic journey of our dear country. I think we'll take it up from here next week. I remember myself, Abdulqadir, once again. Do have a lovely day. See you next week.